Sick Harrison Price for Thursday, December 18th, 2025, presentation of Bet365. We're coming to you from the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio here at the historic Wall Center. Visit shoptoyota.ca or visit your local Pacific Toyota dealer today. Matt Sakaris alongside Blake Price, four-time Juno Award winner Mike Rogerson, hitting switches and conducting things. 1 week from Christmas. I'm not going to ask where you are on your shopping because I know you were a last-minute guy.
I am... Yeah, I bought my first gift yesterday. So I'm going to be in tight. We've got a very full week ahead, and I don't like my chances. Very pessimistic.
It's a big list.
It's a big list.
Do you still buy for all four kids?
Yeah, of course.
Really?
Yeah. Why would I stop?
Well, I'm just wondering, when do they're out of the house. Do they age out?
I don't have any that are out of the house. The mailing address for all four of them is my house.
Really?
Yeah.
And they're all of them are there right now? Full
yep.
house?
In within the hour, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
When you have four kids, do you buy for each other? Like
I said, I don't know
you
what.
Put your foot down and
Yes.
say, that's enough, honey. We'll buy for the kids, not for each other.
I said, don't get me any. I don't recall hearing that back. So, which I found interesting.
All right.
But I get it. Getting gifts is fun.
Yeah. The surprise.
Mm-hmm. Are we getting each other something this year?
I have never once gotten you a gift. I don't think you've gotten me a gift for anything. No.
No gifts.
Mike, incidentally, that means no gifts, okay? If you bought anything, just bring it back. I hope you have the receipt, Mike. Yeah, we don't do gifts on this show.
We accept a handmade card and crayon.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Arts and crafts.
Yes. By all means.
Always. I mean, how could we say no to your creativity, Mike?
I forgot that I crocheted you a toque. My handmade toques will be... I started it in 2016. Just finished.
Daily poll question today. Given the return from the Quinn Hughes trade, are you excited about the Canucks' future? You can vote yes. You can vote no. Do so at the Sakaris and Price X and YouTube channels. Mr. Price, lead us off.
Yeah, I mean, I can jump into a fan's shoes there, and I think that it has changed the calculation a little bit about Canucks management, but also certainly about just the overall future. Whether it's this management group that will ultimately be in charge in a year or two's time, we'll find out. But I think you can say there's at least a lowercase font direction to this team. That they were so mushy middle. They were the mushy middleists. They were on the cover of Mushy Middle magazine. But I think you can see them as at the very least, retooling team. I still am a little bit cockeyed looking at Jim Rutherford use the word rebuild because I don't think that's what he wants to do. He wants to touch bottom and quickly push up to the top of the pool.
Yeah.
And but at least you can see that he's.
So you voted yes?
Yeah, I voted yes.
Yeah. I voted no. I'm not there yet.
Okay.
For some of the reasons that you outlined. They have spoken the word rebuild. And again, the Seinfeld meme applies here, right? Anyone can say we're rebuilding, but will you actually stick to your guns?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see that. Also, they need more. I mean, we talked about it when PJ was in for you Tuesday. That was the lead of his story in the province. We're back to needing an army, right? You're 2 to 3 top 6 forwards short.
Well, you mean established?
No, not necessarily. Like I would, if they pick first overall and get Gavin McKenna, great. He drops into the top 6. Maybe not next year, right out of camp, but. He profiles as top 6. You still need more than that. You now need another top 4 left side defensemen, right? Going forward. Really like Bouillon. Okay, Marcus Pettersson is there in the near term, but man, he's had a poor year.
Mm-hmm. Nothing special, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, not quite there yet. If they make a move, and again, DPD as well. Like if DPD had shown us more this year, I would feel better about his future. But right now he's not even playing a lot of minutes on the third pair play.
Minio, Kudryavtsev,
there are some possibilities
Mancini and Pettersson. I think you want 2 of those 4 to hit.
There are some possibilities, and Kudryavtsev and Minio on the left side, Mancini on the right side, although Mancini's been bypassed by Villander here.
And he's been injured this year.
Mm-hmm. So not quite there yet, but starting to. Put it this way. A good Kiefer Sherwood trade. First round pick and B+ level prospect. Or a young NHL roster player. They're asking for that. I think it's going to be tough to pull off a young roster player on a first round pick. I mean, Sherwood's good, but he's not that good.
If he got red hot again,
yeah.
But until he's got red hot, it just looks like a small hot streak they got him.
Honestly, Blake, I've been thinking about this since Friday and the weekend, and because one of the things that we have discussed here in the aftermath of the Hughes trade is the potential for an arms race in the Central Division, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, Bill Guerin makes this trade in part because the Minnesota Wild have had historical troubles getting out of the first round, but also the quality of division they're in with the Colorado Avalanche at 24-2-7. They've lost 2 regulation games all year long.
It's absurd.
They're closing in on the midpoint of the NHL season, Blake.
This is Lidstrom era Red
Honestly,
Wings.
it's like 76 Canadians level stuff we're seeing.
Yeah.
And Dallas, who are there at 49-22-7-5. Minnesota's won 5 in a row, but Colorado's won 3 in a row. Dallas is 7-2-1 in their last 10. Like, making traction, getting home ice advantage, or having to beat one of these teams in the first or second round of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And so I look at it and I go, I wonder if the best case scenario on a Sherwood trade, and of course some of these teams would have a little bit of cap space as well, which is where Kiefer Sherwood is even more attractive, making just the $1.5 million, right? Like, there will be some teams at the deadline, contenders, playoff teams, that aren't going to be able to go out there and add the bigger ticket player because they just don't have the cap space. Remember these new rules about LTIR. You can't do the Mark Stone Undertaker thing. Suddenly he's ready for game 1, round 1. So I think the best case scenario for the Canucks is you look at a situation here where you've got arms race in the Central, that Colorado, Minnesota, Dallas, and particularly if the Avalanche or Stars get involved here and make a deal, and then you have the third one sitting there going, okay, one of them's added Hughes, one of them has added so-and-so, let's get more serious. Or the secondary side of things, and Jersey is the team with big cap space now. We all know that based on their involvement and failure to get Quinn Hughes, but there are some other teams there as well. I mean, Edmonton doesn't have a ton of cap space. Vegas doesn't have a ton of cap space. Florida. So one of these teams going, well, we would love to add so-and-so and so-and-so, but we just can't do it cap-wise, so let's go get Kiefer Sherwood, playoff-style player, has had success in the postseason, $1.5 million, goal scorer, physical, blah, blah, blah. I think the conditions are there for the Canucks to make a very good Kiefer Sherwood trade.
Sherwood is one, and I would turn over every rock from there on in to flood certainly the top 50 for draft picks. But, I mean, if this team could have an historic draft, Matt, where they have 3, dare to dream 4 first-round picks.
Oh, 4s.
Well, you're halfway there already. Yeah. Kiefer Sherwood trade might get you the 3rd.
I think you're talking about a Garland trade if you're getting to a 4th.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But imagine, like that is a little bit of the equivalent of a 3-year rebuild right there. Matt. Like you're
Yeah, the Minnesota picks, I suspect, will be late.
But it could be could be a 20th. Like saying they bounce late in the first, early second round. Like they could be 20th.
As I understand it, we're now regular season record outside of the Final Four, right?
Yes.
So Cup champion picks 32nd, finalists 31st. Then your two other conference finalists pick 30th and 29th. And then it's about inverse order best regular season record, which, Minnesota, problem there, Blake, is Minnesota's record is already very good. I mean, they are the third best team in the Western Conference.
Yep.
Third team in the division, but third best team in the Western Conference by points percentage. And there's only one team in the East that's better than them, Carolina. So, yeah, if Minnesota goes out first or second round, okay, but how many teams are going to be better than them in the regular season and are able to push that pick up? I hear you. Long way to go. You're rooting for Minnesota Wild losses. Garland is interesting in terms of returning a first-round pick. I saw somebody yesterday tweet like, oh, my God, would love if Don Waddell and the Columbus Blue Jackets guys who sitting second from the bottom in the East, but not terribly, terribly out of it just yet. I mean, a lot of teams to jump 5 points back, have some games in hand on folks. If they fall in love with Columbus native Kiefer Sherwood and go, oh, okay, we need to do something here and give them a first-round pick because maybe that pick can be even a lottery pick, right, if they miss out. Again, wishful thinking. But a Garland trade could be an interesting first-rounder because, of course, he has term, Blake. And so not as a pure rental would a team in that mid-pack playoff adjacent just over the bar be willing to give up a first-round pick this year in a Garland package where, okay, now we're talking. Now we've got a pick that's in the lottery.
Middling.
Yeah, in the mid-teens, something like that,
Yeah.
even late teens, where you get an even better prospect than somewhere deep in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good players in the teens in the last 10 years of NHL drafts.
Braden Coots looks like one of them.
Yeah.
We'll get to him later in the show.
So if you can do that, you've sort of supercharged your rebuild. Because Matt, the number of teams that have had 3 first-round picks, I mean, once every other year, maybe there's a team that has 3 first-round picks.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's not commonplace, that's for sure.
I think of the Bruins in the Jake DeBrusk draft. That's
they
one
had
that
3
stands out.
straight,
Yes.
right? Did Calgary have 3 last year?
They might have had 3. Yeah. But that's what you have to do. So hopefully they've got the gumption.
I think it was just 2 for Calgary.
Philly? Did Philly have 3?
Yeah. Oh, Chicago had 3 last year.
Was that who it was? Okay.
Yeah, they had Mason West, the kid who was a huge football prospect too, and said, no, I'm staying at Edina High School to play football one more year. I believe they won the state championship, actually, before continuing his hockey career, and then they took a check forward, and, of course, they also had a high pick. Chicago did Frondell, the Swedish centerman, 3rd overall. So, yeah, it happens. Top story brought to you by Yellow Dog Brewing, Neighborhood Brewing, Foolish Winery. Heartbreak. Well, the Quinn Hughes trade landed hard with Canucks fans on Friday, who bemoaned the loss of arguably the greatest player in franchise history and another organizational failure. Let's face it, the beefy return, it helped. And it's not like his Q rating was at an all-time high with the faithful, telling body language and comments this year. It was becoming clear he wanted out. For Canucks players, none of those factors at play, of course. This was a teammate. This was a friend. This was their captain. And the cruelty of a player trade in pro sports reared its head as suddenly he was a member of the Minnesota Wild. 1 minute he's on the Canucks charter, maybe playing some cards, having a laugh with the fellas. Upon touchdown, he's whisked away, brief conversation with management, and then absent from the team bus. Some good reporting from Mike Russo of The Athletic. We had him on our emergency pod show on Friday. If you missed that, go back and watch In the Moment. Describing some of the blow-by-blow on this deal, Hughes was informed of the trade as the team landed, ironically enough, at Newark, New Jersey.
Which would have been something if he ended up a Devil.
My goodness.
My goodness.
He immediately leaves to go see his brothers, Jack and Luke, before reconnecting with his now ex-Canucks teammates, Brock Besser, Tyler Myers, Connor Garland, Phil Hronik, for a last supper. According to the story, Quinn toasted the table. Besser said it was emotional. Big hugs were exchanged, everybody knowing they almost certainly won't be teammates ever again. Besser, and we know he's a feeler, would later say, quote, I was feeling so many different emotions, couldn't really explain. I was sad, I was mad, I was happy for him. It was just a ton of emotions. He went on to say, when people were texting me about his first game, I'm like, too early, too early. He later said he put his phone on Do Not Disturb because he didn't want to hear about it. And he mentioned that Quinn was one of the few teammates who attended the funeral of his father, Duke, a couple of years ago. And Brock talked about how meaningful that was and what a indication that was of Quinn, the person he is, the way he was raised, that he would take time out to go and visit Brock and the Besser family in Minnesota.
The rest of that piece is a bit of a gush piece as they unwrap Quinn Hughes there in Minnesota, and they got.
Well, they should. They should be very excited. I mean, I saw somebody tweet like, "Oh my God!" Like Quinn Hughes just absolutely owned the ice and took over the proceedings on that last shift, and I was like, "Get used to it, Minnesota. That's what he do."
But there's really good sound bites from Luke Shin and other former and current Canucks who all recounted the first time that, or the first weeks of Quinn Hughes in the NHL, and them all just saying, holy shit, this guy is a player. Like they didn't, and I've been told this from NHL players in the past, you don't keep track of the prospects. You pretty narrow focus on the players that are in the room currently with you and the next guy up. They don't keep track of draft picks and who's coming in as a kid.
I mean, unless it's somebody of profile, but I hear what
But
you're
even
saying.
Quinn Hughes, he had profile for us, but for the room was just like, we've apparently got a new defenseman.
Yeah, some small kid from Michigan, apparently he's pretty good on the puck.
Yeah, they may have known the family. But again, he was the oldest, so the other guys are not around, right? Yeah. At this point, no Jack, no Luke Hughes. So, and then they just were blown away. And so now Minnesota's going through all of that. Now, I will say this, Matt. All the excitement that is around Quinn Hughes, Zeeb Buium has the unenviable task of being compared now to Quinn Hughes a little bit. It'll just happen naturally. Not that it should happen, but it will happen. If you take away your Quinn Hughes experience here, folks, and you imagine that the Canucks get a just turned 20-year-old defenseman, they drop him into the lineup, and he's on a half-point per game pace in that 20-year-old season. Mm-hmm. What would this market, pre-Quinn Hughes, have been doing about Zeeb Buium? Gushing
too, yeah.
So I understand people are going to be very cautious to coronate Zeeb Buium because he's just so young.
And expectations that don't want to.
But I think in another universe where
points in 33 NHL games.
Yeah. Like in another universe where you haven't experienced Quinn Hughes, you are freaking over the moon with Zeeb Buium. So I will grant the Canucks management that they've given them a shot at. I don't think he'll be Quinn Hughes, but I think to say Zeeb Buium could one day be the second most prolific Canuck defenseman, I don't think it's crazy to think that.
No. I mean, again, you were hoping he gets 8/10 of the way to Quinn Hughes.
Yeah, that's pretty much
That's a very good NHL
It's a really good player. That's the guy. That's the guy who's sixth in Norris Trophy.
Something
voting.
like that. Yeah, exactly. A top 10 NHL defenseman at one point. That's very possible here. He's that good. Now, there are two things that Quinn Hughes did that I would say are probably the best I have ever seen in watching the National Hockey League over 40 years. Number one was puck possession, puck on a stick. We talked about this last week. He averages more than 4 minutes per game with the puck on a stick. It's insane. Like, next best in the league is Matthew Schaefer. He's not even at 3 minutes per game. Nobody gets over 4 minutes per game other than Quinn. He's led the league in that the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Just the absolute master of ceremonies, the maestro. The puck is always on his stick. The other thing he's done that he does better than anybody I've ever seen, and Elliot Friedman had a great line about this, or a scout that Elliot Friedman talked to had a great line about this last year when he said, I call Quinn Hughes the jewel thief because he risks danger like no other player, so supremely confident of his handle on that puck.
And so calm. Calm under all that.
And for me, that manifests mostly in terms of walking the line on the power play. You watch some even really good NHL power play quarterbacks. When there's a high press, when there's a forward right up in their grill, they want to offload that puck. They understand what a turnover there means. At best, you've got to recalibrate and re-enter the zone. At worst, a shorthanded scoring opportunity the other way. The way Quinn would walk the line and just tempt danger with that high penalty killer night after night, game after game. And I mean, how few times did we see him make the bad turnover? I mean, you probably counted on one hand over his time.
He's got a few loud ones that you might remember, but the number of at-bats is so high.
Obscene, Blake. It's obscene.
It's inconsequential.
Where you've got a checker on him in tight quarters, and somehow, some way, he not only has the puck on his stick, but he doesn't look distressed, and he does something constructive with it.
Well, I almost marvel at the even strength stuff more, where he'll carry the puck up, be the last man back carrying the puck on a breakout. Doesn't like it?
That too.
I'm going back. We're going to redo this. Yeah. And then the guy forechecks him, and the guy's left behind the net while Quinn Hughes now creates at least a 5-on-4 breakout the other way.
He does stuff as the last guy back where he cuts in front of his own net, and you go, okay, that's a terrible play for like 99.9% of defensemen who have ever played the game, except for him. Like they used to say about Michael Jordan, the jump shot just inside the 3-point line, that's a terrible shot for everyone except for Michael Jordan.
Yep.
And Jordan came to realize, they actually back off because they're accustomed. They've been coached. Oh, if somebody wants to take that jump shot, we'll live with it. And Jordan said, okay, I'll take that. I'll be the guy who takes that jump shot, and made enough of them, of course, to forge his legend.
It's part of the reason Gretzky was a shitty coach. Like, he couldn't take that. He couldn't understand that the rest of the National Hockey League Players Association really didn't see the game like he did. Why wouldn't you just blah, 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 blah? Because no one can do that.
Yeah. I didn't see it, or if I saw it, I don't have the confidence that I can execute that play.
He was a special player.
Yeah.
Hughes, I'm saying.
Yeah. And honestly, that part I completely get with Canucks fans who were still in mourning here. And yeah, the return helped, and no, Quinn was not in the best graces of Canucks fans right at the end here. But there was a shift or two every game. There was a game or two every month. At his height, there was even more than that. I mean, at his height, you could almost say every game, where you just watched him and you went, I've never seen that. That's something special. There are a few people in the world who can do that. However you want to frame the accolade, it all applied to Quinn.
I want to add a little bit of color to something, build on something I've said and bring in something I heard from, I want to say, Drance today. But build off on what he said. Comparing this Hughes trade to the Pavel Bure trade, which is an apt comparison.
Which we've done this week, yeah.
But as it pertains to the rebuild, Drance called, okay, now you got to find your Sedin draft, which is an interesting way to put it. And it's also an interesting way to look at the Canucks post-Bure in terms of their success after that. Canucks trade him in January of 99. So in the middle of the 98-99 season. They did not qualify for the playoffs that year. They did not qualify for the playoffs the year after. The year after that, they're back in the playoffs. Now, the Sedins are not really a part of that, but they're starting to build.
So this is the 2000-2001 Canucks?
Yep, that was the first playoff series I ever covered. I remember getting goosebumps watching those playoffs begin. It had been a lean tenure for the Canucks, of course, 4 years out of the playoffs. They got smoked by the Avalanche, Joe Sakic Avalanche.
And, of course, this is the start of the West Coast Express, too, right?
The early machinations are there. But, of course, they would then draft the Sedins, and that starts to be fed into a motor that's already working. And you've got then a dozen years of success after that. But from the moment they traded Bure, that's the delineation point. It's a year and a half out of the playoffs. That's what I think the Canucks have in mind here, Matt. Yeah, we're not going to be in the playoffs this year. We're probably not going to be in the playoffs next year. But we want to be back the year after that. They want to be swept by the Avalanche in 2 years' time because, but it's a step forward, right? It's a step forward.
Wow.
So I like that comparison, not so much even for the Sedin drafting, although we've talked about that, the multiple draft picks, they won't be in the top five. But if you can get 3 first-round picks that is similar to that, and then you start to build more quickly, I think that's the timeline and the MO here for the Canucks organization.
Mike, you're going to have to help me out here because there's a comment in the YouTube chat that we would like to get to from Mike Torrance about the rebuild. I hope it's more NASA and less red-green.
Yeah, more scientific. This is what I'm assuming. More scientific, more thought out.
Calculated.
As opposed to duct tape. And
yes.
Okay. I can't say I was a big red-green show fan. Forgive me.
I've watched 11 total minutes probably, but duct tape figures prominently. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize.
Yeah.
I mean, that said, duct tape is pretty handy for a lot of chores.
Fix a lot of things with duct tape. I don't know that I want to rebuild a house built on duct tape. That's what it is.
Gotcha. Now I follow. Thank you, Mike. And Mike.
Mike. Let's talk to you about Yellow Dog.
That's something I'm more familiar with.
Mike and Mike. Mike and Ike's, too. Yellow Dog Brewing's released Big Cup of Copper Ale.
Good radio show, Mike and Mike.
Speaking of radio, Yellow Dog is partnering up with an old Seafox friend in Jeff O'Neill for this Big Cup of Copper Ale. Pours rich and golden brown, smooth malt backbone, touch of caramel sweetness. In these winter months, I don't like winter ales, as I've told you, but I do like darker beer in the winter months, like real darker beer, like this one. Just enough to keep it real, this bite at the end. Balanced, bold, goes down easier than your favorite 90s beat. It's the Big Copper Ale from Yellow Dog.
Dollywall reporting the Canucks don't want to go north of $3.5 million on Sherwood. I mean, for some, they shouldn't go anywhere on Sherwood other than trading him for an excellent return. And we can tell you that you have something in the order of 34 hours. And it will be a lot less by the time many of you take in this show before the NHL holiday roster freeze kicks in. Kicks in at midnight Eastern time on Friday the 19th. So it's at 9 p.m. here for us on the West Coast. And it goes until December 27th, the evening of December 27th. So it's long been a thing. NHL players get the peace of mind of being able to celebrate the holidays with their loved ones, knowing they won't be pulled aside for a trade. Last year, we have seen this deadline motivate a little bit of trading in the past. I mean, not nearly to the NHL trade deadline, obviously, but we'll see if any GMs get busy here. It's gone quiet on the Sherwood file, and for some that means, okay, the Canucks are willing to play this out a little longer. But sometimes there's a quiet before the storm, right? So we'll see where this goes on the Sherwood file and if we go anywhere else. And as Blake mentioned, the standings here, where the Canucks feature and where some of these other clubs feature. because some teams will use the New Year or the Christmas break as sort of a barometer. Okay, where are we at? What do we have to do going forward here? Let's get into Crave the Stats, brought to you by Uber Eats. And today we look at the bottom of the NHL standings historically and what the Canucks have to do here on Team Tank to stay there.
Well, it's why if you are on Team Tank, it's a little bit tenuous. And if you're on Team Playoffs, hey, the Canucks are good now. They're better. Let's make a run for the playoffs. You've got some ammunition here, too. The good news here, you look at this. This is this year's standings. Canucks are in last place. Best odds for the draft lottery. Tickety-boo. They are in last place, 4 games below 500. That's the last place team in the NHL right now. NHL 500. Let's go back to last year. Same date last year. Pretty close in terms of games played. A few less maybe in total because of the condensed schedule. But look at where last place is. 8 games below 500. Look at how many teams are worse than 4 games below 500 or equal to. Canadians, Sharks, Sabres, Blackhawks, and Predators are equal to or worse than 4 games 500. All these teams are below 30 points. The Canucks are the only team below 30 points. I mean, it's really crazy, and it's you wonder if this is going to continue. Is the compression from the bottom of the standings to the playoff bar going to continue to be this close? Or is it eventually going to find this level, which seems to me to be a little bit normal? And remember, this is the better draft, I think, than last year's draft in totality, in depth.
I think high end for sure.
Yeah.
Although Matthew Schaefer is making the high end of last year's draft
Yes,
look a lot better
Yeah.
than many of us expected it would. But, you know, Michael Misa, the second overall pick, he's playing for the World Juniors, right? Like, he's not in the NHL and dominating. Everybody loves Ben Kindle and what he's been able to do with the Pittsburgh Penguins. So, you know, he's probably ahead of the proceedings here. But the third pick, Frondell, is in Europe. Desnoyers, the fourth pick, looks like a bottom 6 player on the Canadian World Junior team. Brady Martin got a toe dip with Nashville, but then he got sent back. So, yeah, I think we got to talk to Cam and Dave Hall and everyone else who watches prospects. But I think if you look at the top 5 prospects in this draft, of course, Gavin McKenna, Keaton Verhoff, the big defenseman for North Dakota, Tynan Lawrence, the center, who's at play here, and then the wingers, Stenberg, the Swede, who is doing things as a draft eligible that very few in history have done in the top season of Swedish professional hockey, Daniel Sedin being one of them. And then Belchets, the gargantuan power forward out of Windsor, 6'5", 230. I would think that most draft evaluators will tell you that top 5 is better than last year's top 5. Now, last year's top 5 had centerman, which this draft
This one is a weird
quite
one.
have
Doesn't
in the
quite
same
have.
number.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think that's fair.
So it's just going to be really interesting to watch because if the Canucks do have any sort of uptick, they're going to tease you a little bit with regards to the playoff bar. And they're going to lose spots, theoretically. And if you want to tank, you got to really tank because this is not going to do it, this current pace.
Yeah, there are 4 teams, as you say, that are not within a win of 500 right now. Canucks, Flames, Predators, and Blues. There are 3 other teams that are below 500 right now, but if they get a win, they're right at 500.
Yeah. The worst placed team in the East is a 500 team.
That's right.
That's
Buffalo.
worst.
Yeah. Yep. That's a good point.
It's a very weird year.
Mm-hmm.
And to make it less weird,
order Uber Eats.
It just assists you in every way. Gives you your life back, gives you amazing food, and it's easy on your pocketbook when you got game day specials on the app, like for Canucks home games.
Mm-hmm.
Buy one, get one free McDonald's 6-piece chicken McNuggets. 6 pieces turned into 12. It's capitalizing, Matt. It's asset management. They've acquired another pick just by using the Uber Eats app. It's as simple as that.
We knew former Canucks captain Bo Horvat would need a very quick recovery to face his former teammates tomorrow with the New York Islanders. He suffered an injury last week or on the weekend. We're like, okay, sure enough. He has been counted out. Patrick Roy, his head coach with the New York Islanders, calling him day-to-day. It's a lower body injury. He will not play tomorrow against the Canucks. He hasn't practiced with the team since the injury. They said 1 to 3 weeks when he first suffered it. So really, we've been robbed of storylines here this week. There was supposed to be another Hughes Bowl, although minus Jack, Sunday with Quinn versus Luke and the Devils.
Yep.
There was supposed to be a Elias Pettersson versus JT Miller, nose-to-nose in the face-off Tuesday at the Garden. But a Pettersson missed the game with injury. And, of course, tomorrow was supposed to be the Vancouver Canucks sans captain versus their former captain, because they have now traded 2 captains in the last 4 years. But alas, Bo won't be there.
And now, Matt, we're learning that the possible next captain will also not be playing tomorrow. It does not sound optimistic based on Adam Foote's post-practice comments that EP40 is returning for this game.
You think he's going to be the next captain?
He's on the short list.
I don't think so. I don't think he wants it. I think he told them that when they made Hughes the captain.
But if he's not playing tomorrow, then he's probably not playing on the road trip.
This is weird. Like, weren't they last week talking about him playing Sunday against Jersey?
Yeah, and now we've had all this time off this week, and he's still not ready?
Boy, another Canucks injury that lingers beyond the timeline.
So if Atu Ratu does not play in tomorrow's game,
former Islander,
we riot.
It's a loaded word in this town.
Yeah.
4-letter word.
It's a legit threat in this town. It's like, no, you wouldn't.
But hold on a second. Because as I've gone about scheduling the show day after day here, I've thought about making Ratu a bigger story here. Like, what the hell is the problem? What doesn't Foote and the staff see there in terms of how destitute you are at center? This guy is actually a capable one. But then I think of the tankist. And the tankist is saying, nah, good job, Adam. Leave him right there in the press box. Let's lose another.
Yeah, but even a draftist, tankist, however you want to, like, they want the young players to play. Like, if you're going to play anybody during the death march, you play young players. Except for
if they help you to win. You're going to have to play the young players at some point this season.
You got to develop these guys, though.
But to your point on Crave the Stats, like, get yourself good and buried a little further than this.
So that when you win 4 in a row, it doesn't kill you.
Yeah. Great news for Canucks prospect Braden Coots at World Junior Camp. Canada has made some cuts here at it's not a selection camp, it's a training camp, even though we will be
selecting people
and unselecting others. They have cut forward Jake O'Brien, Seattle Kraken prospect. They have cut defenseman Jackson Smith, Columbus Blue Jackets prospect, and winger Marek Vanacker of the Chicago Blackhawks prospect. So, as Dave Hall notes of Canucks Army, unless there's an NHL forward who gets loaned out last minute,
Berkeley Catton, possible.
Of Seattle, no chance, I think, of Kindle.
No,
Pittsburgh.
But the only reason for Berkeley Catton is he's coming off an injury. So if the Kraken see the World Juniors as a good rehabilitation tool for him, they might do it.
But if you're Canada, do you not say, you know what? Thanks. If he was healthy, he's absolutely on this team. But we don't actually want a player coming back from
yeah. Yep, you could go that way too, for sure.
Especially when we talk about like how late in the day this gets.
Mm-hmm.
Does he miss all the pre-tournament games, things like that? If you can't integrate a guy soon here,
all these other players are hitting the ground running.
Yeah, and Hall, Dave says even if another forward is loaned, Coots is likely safe. We've talked about how he's had very good real estate there at the camp with Dale Hunter and the coaching staff. And he's outperformed O'Brien, who went 8th overall to Seattle last year. Coots went 15th overall.
Mm-hmm.
Smith, the defenseman they just cut, he went 14th overall just before. 2 draft-eligible defensemen make this team. Former Victoria Royal Keaton Verhoff, talked about him, now at North Dakota. he's still vying to be the first pick in this draft. If Gavin McKenna continues to struggle at Penn State, maybe there's a world where a big defenseman with puck skills goes first overall. I mean, I think at worst he's going to be a top 3, top 5 pick. And then Prince George's Carson Karls also makes this team. He's going to be a first-round pick next year. Some like him in the top 10. Some think he'll be more 10 to 20. And they're the 5th and 6th youngest defensemen ever to be kept by Canada at this tournament. Like, the guys ahead of them are pretty special. Like, the Bouwmeesters and others who showed themselves as 16, 17-year-olds and were undeniable then. Both these kids are 17. Blake, they don't even turn 18 till June around the draft. So they're not even 17 and a half just yet. And they're on this team. If things go wrong again this year for Canada, people will trot out the same. They say it every year. It's a 19-year-olds tournament. It's not a 17 or 18-year-olds tournament. And intrepid reporting from our friend Mark Masters of TSN on the World Junior Beat every year. And this year, well before the tournament, it should be noted as well, because sometimes the guys in the room have tried to keep this quiet until, make it a big surprise for the first game when they actually score their first goal. The goal song this year in Minnesota, Courage by the Tragically Hip.
I wonder where they're going to jump in. It's only played for 20 seconds or whatever.
Yeah. You're talking.
It's a little mellow, because if you just start with at the start of the chorus, it's not the biggest rocker.
Yeah, I had a little bit of trouble hearing it as a goal song, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I'll reserve judgment, because it's different when the crowd's cheering already. The crowd's already cheering when the goal goes in.
They have to start at Sleepwalk So Fast Asleep.
No, that's way too mellow at that point. When the goal goes in, siren goes? No.
But the build, and piss on all of your surroundings, courage. You don't think so?
I think it probably just jumps in with Courage.
Right at the chorus?
Yeah. I'm all for a hip song. I'm just, and I understand that them choosing a song called Courage, that also works, but of all the hip songs, there might be better ones.
The other thing I'll
Fireworks?
say. Now, Fireworks would have been inspired.
Yeah.
And Fireworks.
Yeah, boom.
Comes in.
You're into it.
It hits you like a firework.
They don't consult me.
The other thing I'll say, these are 17 to 18-year-old or 17 to 19-year-old kids.
Dad music is sort of on a...
Holy cow, I'm impressed.
Yeah, no...
Courage came out in 1992.
Yeah.
Fully, completely.
30 years previous to...
34 years ago, Blake.
So that's the equivalent when we're graduating
some of these
high
kids
school.
are half that age.
That's the equivalent, Matt, of when we're graduating high school.
Well, you were...
Buddy Holly. Would you have been listening to Buddy Holly in the car in your senior year?
Maybe the Weezer song, not the actual artist.
Yeah.
May he rest
That's 34 years previous, basically. Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
Although we listened to La Bamba, and that would have been same era.
Richie Valens' La Bamba?
Yeah, well, of course.
Yes.
But, of course, redone by Los Lobos. So dad music is the thing again?
Yeah. Kids are definitely listening to dad music. My kids can sing a lot of my tunes, if you will. Yeah.
Really?
Yep. Now, they like their country and their pop music as well, but yeah.
I'm getting positive confirmation here from our friend Elijah Ford.
We have a resident teenager.
In studio, who is absolutely not working here. He just stopped in for a holiday visit.
Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you.
And he's giving me the thumbs up, saying, he's 20.
Yeah.
So he's aged out of World Junior. And when you say high school graduating, Blake, you were graduating. I was still merely in grade 10.
Junior.
20 months, baby. 20 months younger. No, because remember, a few years ago, and even for several years, I think they stuck with it too long. They had that Hey Baby goal song, right?
Which I never liked.
No, it was never big on Hey Baby.
I'll admit, though, I saw it in action live at World Juniors. The people loved it. That's
but that's another sign of maturity.
And that's who it's for.
They may sit there and go, I don't know, hey, baby. And they say, no, the audience loves it.
And it works in the moment.
We got to deliver it to the audience. The problem with Hey Baby, when you were beating Kazakhstan 11-0, the 9th and 10th playing of it.
It's too earwormy.
It was irritating.
Yes. I hope they don't ruin the hip for us in a 10-1 win.
Based on their performance in the last few tournaments and a 2-1 pre-tournament game against Sweden, no chance of that. Here's the other thing. This team's actually good in goal. Like I saw Duthie and Jeff O'Neill talking about it yesterday, where they said, we have left buildings the last few years going, oh, God, who are we going with in the next? Like, who's starting the next game? Canadian goaltending, right, being a thing. This year, everybody is quite bullish on the 3 goaltenders they're bringing. It's going to be tough for North Van's Joshua Ravensbergen to see any time here as the young guy behind a couple of guys, one of whom...
Oh, he might get cut, too. Like, there's still one...
Are they not bringing 3 goalies?
No, but there's still 4, is there not?
Okay.
I think there's 4. The goal... I read there's still a goalie.
They're set at forward, I read.
Yeah, they're set at forward, yeah.
So for the first time in a while, maybe Canada gets some goaltending, and then the forwards do enough to score, and you sort of insulate that defense group that maybe doesn't look as strong as the other facets.
Incidentally, we're talking about international washouts. I went down the rabbit hole of the Olympic men's hockey tournament schedule yesterday.
Yeah.
Canada's in the pool with France, and after doing the Worlds last year,
ooh.
And that's basically...
Is Antoine Roussel's the Rooster going to be there?
He was not there at the Worlds. He's retired now. But I saw what is effectively the Olympic team last year at the Worlds. Like there's very few additions to be made from that. Like our Olympic, like that could be world junior level lopsided.
Oh yeah. Italy's in the tournament, Blake, as host.
Yeah. Canada
are they in a U.S. pool?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, U.S., Sweden. If they're in any of those pools, that could be.
Yep.
Of course, Italy usually just takes a bunch of Canadians and Americans with Italian.
But still, they're AHL Canadians and AHL Americans. Still not structured for success.
Mm-hmm. Are you skipping school to be here?
No, they're done.
Oh, you're done school?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Just our music insider.
Yeah. Well, no, our age group demographic insider, Elijah.
Yes.
Thank you for that, buddy. Good to see you. Okay. Party. Saturday. Greta. The Canucks Army Holiday Watch Party. Doors at 3, puck drop at 4. It's free to get in. Text 604-256-4022. Give them your name, how many people you're bringing, reserve your spot. Everybody who reserves a spot is going to get one of the game cards. Free. Go around and play the arcade. You're going to love it. Game for everybody. David Quadrelli tends to do some trivia for gift cards in the intermission. It's great fun. He's our MC. We got specials, $3.33 on certain beers, $3.33 on house shots. You got the menu, nachos, wings, the Greta burger, the smash burger. It's delicious. So join us Saturday for the holiday watch party. Doors at 3, puck drop at 4 at Greta, 50 West Cordova. Let the games begin. We'll talk to Rob Williams here on the Hughes trade. Also, Rob got on the wrong side. It was a very sensitive time for Canucks fans, very sensitive week. And there goes Rob, rabble-rousing, poking Canucks Nation about Vasily Podkolzin and everything he's doing with the Edmonton Oilers. He should know better. Rob also firmly stake in the ground. The people want rebuild. For the love of God, rebuild. David Pagnotta is going to join us as well from the fourth period. A DFO Rundown Insider Edition, Wednesdays here on the Nation Network with our buddy Irf Gafar. Taking us through a little bit how the Quinn Hughes trade came together so quickly, because David was with a lot of people thinking these are early days. They're having discussions. This is going to last beyond the roster freeze at the holidays. No. He'll tell you why it happened so quickly. We'll talk about the finalists there for Quinn, as well as Connor Garland. Canucks are still listening there. Then later in the program, really big news day for Vancouver Whitecaps FC. New guys. Re-signings. Yohei Takaoka is back. We're promoting and elevating somebody from Whitecaps FC 2. We're saying goodbye to Jayden Nelson on a trade. We've got targets overseas. And we're looking at divisional play in MLS and league table down the road. Of course, Seahawks and Rams tonight. That's huge. We'll talk about that game as well as 3 weeks ago in the NFL season. And number one seeds available here for a good number of teams. And Bo Bichette says he's willing to play second base. That opens up a whole world of possibilities for him in free agency. Big show coming up here on Seahawks Price. Time now for our Bet365 bets of the day. Now, I took a future yesterday, buddy, so
I took something from today's game. Remember the Charbonnet touchdown?
Right. So you took a future as well. Where are you going?
Going to Quinn Hughes. Quite a start for him in a Minnesota Wild uniform. And I think it continues. The team is playing with a boatload of confidence. 2 points tonight for Quinn Hughes, plus 200 wearing yellow and green.
I'm of two minds of that Rams Seahawks total. When I was in university, I used to listen every night, my routine after dinner, get a dig into the schoolwork and listen to sports talk radio. There was a host by the name of Papa Joe Chevalier.
That's quite a name.
Yeah. Well, he came from the handicapping world, Papa Joe. And come mid-November onwards, and the internet was a thing back then. This is like 30 years ago. But it's not like people were out there dialing up weather forecasts in other cities all that often. That hadn't become part of our routine. No. Information at the fingertips wherever. So he would get his listeners to call in with what he called weather unders, meaning, if you're in Denver and you've got games coming up that weekend, the Broncos or the collegiate teams, and the blizzard is coming through town, call up the show. Let us know the forecast so we can all get in on the under there, weather-wise, right?
It's very good.
It was a very good bet. It's 42.5 tomorrow, or tonight, I should say. We know the winds will be gusting, so maybe that takes some field goals off the board. Of course, maybe that means for some short punts and shorter fields as well.
Matt, the last outing in climate-controlled LA was under.
I know. The Rams haven't been able to score a whole lot on the Seahawks defense, which is probably playing at its peak right now. And, of course, Devontae Adams not playing for the Rams, their fine wide receiver. I do worry about Cross missing on that Seattle offensive line. He took 9 sacks at the hands of this defense in the playoffs last year. So I'm very worried about defensive scores here tonight. But I'm still going to go under 42.5.
Yeah. Defensive scores can't be
a 21. And here's how I think of it, Blake. I win with a 21-20 game. It's 41 points.
Which doesn't seem crazy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Give me the under on the big one tonight from Seattle. Rams, Seahawks. This segment, a presentation of Bet365. Whatever your bet, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app, get in on the game, use code NATION when doing so. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. Rob Williams coming up next. Carson Price from the historic Wall Center.
And this segment brought to you by our friends at Pizza Pizza. And they are really good friends because this month of December, when you order on the app, you'll get a coupon for a free medium one-topping pizza in January. Work in December turns into something. You're planting a seed and the tree grows by January. Like, what? Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Download the Pizza app and order now with your Pizza account. Limit is 1 coupon per person. It's free pizza.
Mm-hmm.
All you have to do is use
how do you
the
say
app.
no to that? I'm on their X account. There's good content there. Nice job. They do fun stuff on social. Much like our next guest, Rob Williams, the national sports editor of the Daily Hive. It's Offside Sports Vertical. Rob the Hockey Guy on Twitter joins us. Last hit before the holidays, buddy. Merry, happy to you, Chelsea, and the whole Daily Hive crew.
Yeah, to both of you as well. Looking forward to it.
Well,
he's not only he's looking forward to it.
He's getting away.
He's escaping everything that's weather-wise here in Vancouver for Australia. It's the middle of their summer, or the start of their summer.
It's the best time to go away. It's the only time to go away. And it's not too hot. It's great.
It's too hot.
It's great. No, I'm looking forward to it. I've got family down there, and been before, but it's my favorite place to travel to for sure.
What if the Canucks trade Quinn Hughes while
Do you speak with an Australian accent when you're down there?
The last time I went down there, it was they fired Bruce Boudreau.
Oh, really?
There were, of course, like some moves there, but no, it's I feel a little less guilty getting out of Dodge when the Canucks are kind of doing their death march thing in the middle of the season. I didn't think it was going to happen this quickly this season, but here we are.
Yeah, we were all surprised by the news, but I think we were all pleasantly surprised by the return. You count yourselves among that crowd, Rob.
Yeah. I think I was getting nervous with the reports that they were looking for roster players and like players already in the NHL. I think, my mind was going to like Sven Berchi, Lyndon Vey, like those types of guys. Because generally when teams are trading roster players or prospects, they don't love trading the guys that are already in the NHL and ready to make an impact right away. Of course, if you want to get Quinn Hughes, you're going to have to do a move like that. And I think that they did as well as they possibly could here. I know, Matt, you went on social and said that like the Canucks can win this trade. Like it's certainly possible. I agree with that. Like they've got enough pieces here and they've got the quality. And I think Zeev Buium was the blue chip prospect that I think that this kind of trade required. I didn't want to see like 5 middling pieces. I didn't want to see like, they've got the first round pick, which is great, but like, are you guaranteed to get a player in the 20s of the draft? No, you're not, right? So I think that they did well by getting Buium, who is a bona fide blue chip prospect, and you get some extra assurance on him because he's already started at the NCAA level, but you've also seen him at the NHL level. He's only just turned 20. So like, that's better than that's like a top 5 pick that's already a couple years, like you get a little bit more assurance, right? Like,
well, it's growing a new core, right? It's growing a new core with Braden Coots. Like those are two guys are parallel now.
That's right. Absolutely. And you get that. And not just that, you get Marco Rossi. He's a little more ready-made. And I think that was also what I was worried about when they were talking about roster players. It's like, I don't want like 3 24, 25, 26-year-old guys that have some flaws, right? Like, so they get Buium at 20, Ogren, another like former first-round pick. It's only 21. Like, there's some potential there. Rossi, you get more assurance, but he's only 24 and he scored 60 points last season. A legitimate second line center in the NHL. I think that he has more potential, certainly given his age. So to get that, you get 4 pieces when you add the draft pick in. I think that was a really good haul for a player like Quinn Hughes. Of course, nobody likes the fact that they traded Quinn Hughes. The number one plan would have been keep Quinn Hughes here for another and have him be great into his late 30s like Scott Niedermayer was and have him just be that fixture back there. But depending on how these guys pan out, this is a trade they could potentially win. It's definitely not a slam dunk, but they've got, I think, a lot of really good pieces, and then especially getting that one real blue chip piece in Bouillon, I think is the key to the deal.
Yeah, and in terms of the timing, Rob, we talked about it on Friday's emergency pod. I'm not sure the Canucks do this deal right now unless they felt like socks were knocked off and that they weren't going to do much, if any, better on the return. But also, as Rutherford later explained, with PJ this week in the province, that they didn't want it getting out that Quinn wasn't going to re-sign there. I mean, everybody speculated, the writing was on the wall, but if it's widely known that the conversation has been had and Quinn is not re-signing here, suddenly they lose some leverage in trade negotiations.
Yeah, I had a group chat before Hughes had been traded. There was a group chat, and a friend of mine, was talking about what's going to happen with Hughes and whatnot, and a friend of mine chimed in and said, he hasn't said that he wants out. Like, he hasn't said it, not once. And my response was like, it's written all over his face. Like it's just so obvious that he's not coming back here, right? And nobody blames him, I don't think. I know there's been a little bit of uproar. If you check Twitter, you'll see some people that are maybe angry at Quinn Hughes. I think that's the vast minority of Canucks fans. I think the majority of Canucks fans feel like the organization failed Quinn Hughes, and why on earth would you sign up for more of this with this team? So I think that the blame obviously shifts to ownership and to management and the rest, because they want this team built correctly this time. And I think that the Canucks are in this mess because they took shortcuts the last time they tried to build a team, and they got the big piece with Hughes, and they got some other nice pieces around him, but there wasn't enough, right? This is the old Jason Bochford line, right? Like, you need an army, and they didn't get an army. They had a small battalion, or I don't know if a battalion is smaller than an army or what.
It is.
I'm lost in in my military puns here, but you get what I'm saying.
Maybe a brigade at best. The Canucks got, I think, incrementally better, especially if they get healthy with Pettersson and Rossi down the middle. And while you lose Quinn Hughes, you replace him with a pretty capable player in Bouillon. So I think in the here and now, they are incrementally better via health and the trade than they were a couple of weeks ago. They could get injured again, and that can all change. But if they are incrementally better, and they go from being a 6-game below 500 team to a 500 team the rest of the way, you get to 78 points on the season. 78 points last year, guys, got you the 7th best odds in the draft lottery. Is that good enough? Are you happy enough with that? Do you think that's a waste to get that much better to be 7th when a moment ago, a week and a half ago, you were the best odds?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're still a bad team. I think they're still going to struggle. A lot of it's going to depend on the health of Thatcher Demko. If he's healthy, that changes the outlook for this team quite a bit. But no, that's not good enough. Like, they're dead last right now. Like they're it feels like they're halfway there, right? Like, we're almost at the midway point of the season. For the love of God, lean into this, right? They need to trade players. They've got the players in this Minnesota trade. But what don't they have right now? They don't have, like, when Bouillon is, 25, you're now going to have Elias Pettersson's going to be 32 at that point if he's still here, right? Like, you'll have Rossi, but like Rossi will be 30, right? So or 29. Like, you're missing that blue chip future star number 1 center. And where do you find that player? You find him in the top 5 of the NHL draft. Lean into it. It's so obvious right now. They need to get rid of. I understand you need to keep some veteran players to kind of show these young guys the way and insulate them a little bit, so they're not just getting buried completely. So you keep the Tyler Myers of the world, right? You're not going to go to him and get him to waive his no trade clause, at least not till the trade deadline, I think next year when it might be his last hurrah in the NHL. But yeah, like Kiefer Sherwood, who doesn't love Kiefer Sherwood and the way he plays? He's got to go, right? Like he's going to be a UFA. He's got value. He's having a career year. He's got to go. You've got to move out enough pieces. I think Thatcher Demko is probably the biggest key. Like, I don't know if you can trade him, but if you can, isn't that an important guy to move out to help the tank right now? Like, that's like him in the lineup really it really helps your chances of winning. It hurts your chances at tanking. So that's one piece that you can move out to try to sink as low as possible. I understand not going into seasons wanting to say, hey, we're just going to be bad all year, but you've come this far. For the love of God, lean into it.
Just some housekeeping here. They are still last with the best odds.
Mm-hmm.
If you finish last in the NHL overall standings, you have a 25.5% chance of landing the first overall pick. You have an 18.8% chance of landing the second overall pick. And the lowest you can pick is third overall, and you've got nearly a 56% chance of picking third overall.
That's the big thing.
To take Blake's example of seventh
best odds, 78 points
so,
last year. Yeah.
If you're seventh from the bottom, you have a 6.5% chance of getting the first overall, a 6.7% chance of second overall, and you are 80% likely to pick either number 7 or number 8. Now, this is a bit of a different top 5 this year. For some, still, Gavin McKenna is number 1, and don't worry about his struggles at Penn State this year. He's a small, light kid playing against bigger guys. So, for others, there are contenders now vying to be the first overall, maybe a group of 3, 4, even 5 who could be in that top cluster. For me, Rob, if you are very serious about rebuild, it's either a Demko or a Garland trade. If both Demko and Garland are kept through the deadline, I think it's fair to say they are looking to small R rebuild, maybe closer to retool, if you will, and jump back to competitiveness, or try to jump back to competitiveness as soon as next season or the year after at the latest. Does that compute for you?
I think it's what everyone expects. It's crazy. I think like everyone I speak to, like, I don't know about you guys, like how many people do you speak to that go, geez, I hope they don't like really blow it up and commit to a rebuild. Like that's not the prevailing, feeling, I don't think, amongst people that follow this team. Like you're going to need to burn it down a little bit here. So absolutely, like trade Garland, trade Demko. They're really important pieces for your hockey team, but that's why they're going to get you something when you trade them, right? If you trade Demko to a team that is so desperate for goaltending and they're willing to look past, his injury history, fantastic. But I think the key to that is Demko needs to, if he stays healthy the rest of the way, maybe he convinces some GMs, hey, that injury that he suffered in November, that was just a blip here, and the popliteus is ancient history. We know how NHL GMs operate, right? Like there's a lot of recency bias. Look no further than Tristan Jarry, right? He was on waivers last season. This season, he's going to fix the Edmonton Oilers crease problem. So, yeah, like I do think they need to be aggressive here. They definitely need to finish as low as they can in the standings this season. They definitely need to add pieces by way of the draft. Like, wouldn't it be nice if they go into this draft and have 3 first-round picks? Not 2, 3. Right?
Oh, boy.
I agree. I think they should.
I think they should with a Sherwood deal.
And I have a lot easier time of them starting to build and starting to make moves to try to get better after this season if they really have loaded up the cupboards, right? If they've got 3 first-round picks this year and they've got Coots coming and you've got the young defenseman, okay, now I'm starting to feel like they've got something. But the plan can't be, okay, if all of our young guys hit, we're going to be a good team. Like, it can't be that. It's got to be, okay, we've got plan A, plan B, plan Z. If this guy doesn't work out, we've got this guy. We've got maybe 5 guys and 5 forwards, and we don't need all 5 to hit. If 3 of them hit, we're in a really good spot. They need to be in a situation like that to move forward. For people, and I think people would really embrace it. Like people would love, like they can be bad, but there needs to be hope. They can be bad, and you go, okay, they're bad, but look at Bouillon, look at this guy, look at all this promise that they have. Whether they're at the NHL level right away or in junior, I think people will get behind that.
Canucks have retention slots still here, 2 more. Full retention on Evander Kane. Does that get you a first-round pick, do you think, at the deadline?
No, not
first-round pick? I don't know about a first round.
Are you crazy?
He's a half-point-per-game guy, guys. He's a playoff performer.
No.
Full retention.
No.
I do think Evander Kane will go for more than we think. And he'll probably go for more than he should be worth because of the name value, because he's big, because he's a veteran guy. If you can make the salary more palatable, I think that he'll get more, and especially if he's on a bit of a hot streak or has put up some decent counting stats.
If he stays at a half point per game, he'll be worth a lot, guys. He will.
I don't think so. Agree to disagree. Galaxy brain idea here, Rob. You mentioned.
He's allowed galaxy brain ideas.
There's something about Evander that's out there
yes.
that NHL teams are looking into right now. So, okay, Galaxy brain idea. You mentioned Tristan Jarry in Edmonton, where I suspect he'll probably go pop. There's a good young winger in Edmonton. He's under contract for 3 more years after this one.
Go get him.
He's probably just third line upside at this stage of his career, but plays a heavy game. He can do some things out there. How about Thatcher Demko for Vasily Podkolzin, Rob? I understand you got – these are sensitive times for Canucks fans. You should know that better than most, and yet you got on the wrong side of them with your Vasily Podkolzin tweet from the so there's Bob Stauffer, Edmonton play-by-play man, showing what Vasily has done. And do we have the Rob piece of this, Mike? Can we put that up as well? Here's what Rob tweeted.
No, that's what we've got, sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What did you tweet?
Yeah, no, but... Yeah, I mean, I just noted that. I mean, you look at when you hear people in Edmonton talk about Podkolzin, like they love the guy. Leon Draisaitl wants him on his wing. The thing I always say about Podkolzin is he can't score, right? Like that was the reason why it sort of never worked here. So I don't know that. I had a couple tweets. The first one was that was an unforced error by the Canucks. Right? Like they went out, like they started the season with Danton Heinen, who they paid some decent money to. They started the season with Nils Amon in the opening night lineup. They started the season with Daniel Sprong in the opening night lineup. Like Podkolzin, I don't think he's a legit second liner. That was my follow-up tweet that also pissed off Oilers fans. So I got everyone mad at me because they they love the guy there, and he's now starting to produce a little bit more offense. I mean, he is playing with Leon Draisaitl. Like he's got 16 points, all at even strength in 34 games. That includes 9 goals. It's a nice start for him. Like I always say, like if I was on Draisaitl's wing, I'd probably pot a couple as well, right? But so there is that aspect to it, but there's also the aspect of like Draisaitl wants him on his wing. Like that's a real thing. Like they love the way that he forechecks and competes and plays defensively. Wouldn't that be a nice guy to have around here? And I just sort of view it as an unforced error because it's not like it's not like he was untouchable. You can never move him out, but they traded him at pretty well all-time low value, traded him
super
for
cheap.
A 4th round pick, pretty well gave him away. And they did that because they didn't think he was an NHL player. And I think that he's definitely proven them wrong in that aspect because not only is he an NHL player in Edmonton, he's playing on a second line. And I think in a lot of teams he'd play on a third line.
Say it with me, everybody. Asset management. Remember how popular asset management used to be as a phrase in the Canucks world and in the vernacular? And lastly, gentlemen, I looked it up for you. This is from largest to smallest. Corps. See, they'd call Army Corps in military speak. Division, brigade, then battalion. So brigade usually between 2 and 5 battalions makes up a brigade. Then from battalion, company, platoon, and platoon squad.
Yeah.
All of these titles have been used somewhere in Hollywood films over the years.
Maybe the title of the film. Thanks for being a part of our squad today.
Yeah, or platoon, if you will, Rob. Hey, enjoy Australia. And just before basketball, Phil complains every Thursday. He's gone for like a month, all right? So Rob will be back in late January, and we'll catch up with him. Because I get a note every time Rob's on.
Where is he?
What's happened to Robert? Okay.
Stay
Rob.
tuned for my updates from the Australian Open. I'll keep you.
very nice. Okay.
Very nice. Enjoy, buddy.
See you, pal.
Thanks, guys.
Sick Harrison Price from the historic Wall Center.
And this has been brought to you by your Pacific Toyota dealers and the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid. This is the best of both worlds, folks. You wanted to get into the electric car thing, but you're a little bit worried about range. This is perfect. It's an electric car when you're in the city. 72 kilometers of range. You can get most of your errands done in those 72 kilometers. If you have something more, if you need that, guess what? The gas is there for when you need it. Road trips, you're doing it in the Toyota Prius plug-in hybrid, and every night you plug it in. When you wake up in the morning, 72 more kilometers ready for your enjoyment, and it is fun to drive. Right now, you can lease a 2026 SE from $109 weekly at 3.99% APR for 64 months. That's for $3,300 down. Visit shoptoyota.ca or your local Pacific Toyota dealer today.
David Pagnotta, the editor-in-chief of the Fourth Period, NHL Insider, also DFO Rundown Insider Edition Wednesdays with our buddy Irfan Ghaffar, and he joins us now. Merry, happy. David, how you doing?
Same to you, boys. I'm all good. All good. It's been a busy week here in the NHL.
To say the least, because you and others were saying, look, early days on the Quinn Hughes thing. We'll see where this goes. Got till March, of course. Maybe not even this year. And everybody here was just flabbergasted to see that trade go down on Friday. But you say this is all about Bill Guerin, huh? David, that this was more driven by the Minnesota Wild general manager than it even was by the Vancouver Canucks. Explain.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and they've alluded to it. They've mentioned some of it, both Jim Rutherford and Billy Guerin in the last several days here, where like Minnesota wasn't even part of the equation until a week prior to the trade actually happening. And Bill Guerin just said, you know what? I don't need to mess around here. Here's our offer. And once they entered, that was effectively, hey, Jim, can we get in on this? Is this a possibility? All right, next conversation. Here's our offer. Like, this is the best we're able to do, and it's probably the best you're going to get out there, but go do what you got to do. And that's what, over the course of that week, Jim Rutherford tried to do, was try to find a better deal elsewhere. And, even with all the discussion surrounding some of the other teams, and even with a lot of hype surrounding the New Jersey Devils, this still seemed to be, at the end of the day, the best offer that was presented because it checked so many boxes for the Vancouver Canucks. We touched on this a couple weeks ago, where it was, top line forward or center, lefty to replace Quinn Hughes, a prospect, and a first-round pick. Boom, 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 boom. They got every single one of those locked in. And like, I'm really high on Zeev Buium. I've liked the kid since his draft year. I had to talk to him during the Stanley Cup final that year before the draft. Smart kid, great player. He's going to really excel. But it was everything that needed to be encompassed in this deal in order to make it happen. And Bill Guerin just didn't want to mess around. And not only, I know he mentioned you're not going to fool a guy like Jim Rutherford in a situation like this, but it's really across the board. When you're dealing with a player of Quinn Hughes' magnitude, you got to pay a premium. So why mess around? Why play games? Let's just lay it all out on the table. So I give the Minnesota Wild absolutely full credit for just executing this as as well as they did. And this was also something Quinn Hughes acknowledged afterwards, after the trade, to say, look, they stepped up in such a big way. That means a lot to me. So, I mean, there's that element as part of this, but this isn't Bill Guerin just messing around over several weeks and finally coming to the acceptance of, fine, we'll pay a significant price. This was him right out of the gate making it happen. And that's why, twofold. One, it happened as quickly as it did, because I think a lot of us anticipated this kind of dragging out a little bit in the season. But at the same time, just catching everyone off guard, because it was Jersey, it was Detroit, it was New York, it was Carolina, Washington, Philly, all these other teams that were poking around. It ends up being the Minnesota Wild in short order.
Why do you think they didn't try to play this out more? There seemed to be this assessment that, oh my gosh, nobody is going to be able to rise up to this. But this came early. We've covered that. Why couldn't the Canucks have tried to wring this out? And let me be clear, I don't think anybody has reviewed this trade and said, it's terrible, but there are differing levels of enthusiasm. Could they not have got somebody else to rise to the occasion here, or do you think Guerin might have had a deadline?
I don't get the sense that there was a deadline tied to this from Minnesota's angle. I think it was just from Vancouver's side. Like, I look to the movie Moneyball when he's making that trade and he hangs up after he gets his answer, and he goes, when you get your answer, just hang up, it's done. That's kind of where I view this. The Vancouver Canucks checked all their boxes. They got what they wanted. Why drag this out even further when you're so comfortable and so satisfied in making that move? Again, I think this is a home run return given the circumstances. Is it a solo shot? Is it a 2-3 run shot? Is it a grand slam? Obviously, we've got to wait to see how this all plays out and see how that first round pick develops. But nonetheless, this cleared the fence. And this is a move that will benefit the Vancouver Canucks, in my opinion. Again, Bouillon is going to be a star in this National Hockey League, whether it was Minnesota or now the Canucks. He's going to be a stud. And let's see how Rossi can develop under a new system. And let's see what Ogren can do, most likely in a third line role. But you need those types of assets. I just really like this return for Vancouver. And again, from the whole side of it, Billy Guerin didn't want to waste time in pitching this offer. And yes, the Canucks had given it a week to do their due diligence, but at the same time, I don't think Jim Rutherford wanted to wait any longer. He didn't want to mess around either. We got what we wanted. Let's make it happen.
Hang up the phone. Lots of recriminations in New Jersey, David, where Tom Fitzgerald is under a lot of heat. Their general manager, Fitzy, of course, for not being able to add the third Hughes brother. Was it down to Minnesota and New Jersey at the end?
Yes. As far as I was told, it was those two, but I still will emphasize that Minnesota was ahead of the game here in this one, because it was a combination of what New Jersey was willing to dish out and also them making the money work. And I know there's been a lot of talk of Andre Palat and Dougie Hamilton in subsequent moves that had to happen here. It sounds like, to me anyway, that it was more focused on Dougie Hamilton and trying to move him out. Now, this is a player that New Jersey explored in the summer around the draft, then later on in the summer. And then even early on, we started to hear in October, late October, early November, his name popping up again within the trade circles. And this has been Tom Fitzgerald, Fitzy, doing his due diligence to see what options may be available to him within the no trade parameters that Dougie Hamilton has. They explored other options and it didn't work out. I mean, I get the frustration from Devils fans wanting to make this happen, because this is a combo of, not landing Quinn Hughes and also the team being in a funk ever since his brother Jack has been out of the lineup. So I get it. And then, you have, Timo Meier away from the team and for personal reasons, and you got a couple more injuries now in the mix, although Brett Pesce's back. It's been a rough swing, a rough couple of weeks here for New Jersey. And that, coupled with not getting Quinn Hughes, has just, amplified the fan base that much more with their pitchforks and the fire out there. So I understand it from that side of things, but Fitzgerald has been looking for a top six forward, a goal scorer, and whether it was at the center position, which I think is a priority, or the wing, he had been looking for this even prior to things really escalating on the Quinn Hughes front. That's something he's going to pivot to again, and has, and is looking to do right now. And we'll see where that ends up going. I still look to Nashville as a prime possibility, not just with Ryan O'Reilly, but there is legitimate interest in Steven Stamkos. If the Nashville Predators will eat on that deal and how much, that'll kind of determine what happens here. But from all accounts, New Jersey does have legitimate interest. In addition to Ryan O'Reilly, also Steven Stamkos. We'll see kind of how that progresses as the season moves along, because you have to make the money work. But with respect to Quinn Hughes, they were right there to a certain extent. But I still believe that Minnesota's offer, and I think Jim Rutherford mentioned this, that nothing came close in the grand scheme of it. As far as I could tell from New Jersey's side, it didn't match up either with respect to all the boxes that were checked off to what Minnesota ended up moving to make it happen.
Yeah. Meanwhile, across the Hudson, Rangers are a bridesmaid here. They get JT Miller from the Canucks last year. They were involved in Quinn Hughes. The effort falls short, and we just saw them get shut out again at home, 6th time this year by the Canucks, no less, on Tuesday. Was it Monday or Tuesday? Tuesday.
Tuesday, yeah.
They're big game hunting now too. They're pivoting to the next biggest game. So you missed out on the Grizzly. We're thinking elk, caribou, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, this is a team that, from all accounts, they're not going through. They've struggled. It's obvious. They've slowly kind of played better in the last, say, month overall, and some of their guys are getting going again. But this is a team that does not want to go through any rebuild. Again, they don't want to send out another memo to fans. They don't want to do any of that. They don't want to make this a 4-year project or anything along those lines. They want to do this on the fly and retool in an appropriate way, and in a bit of, from what I could tell, aggressive way, but a responsible, aggressive way. The interest in Quinn Hughes, yes, legitimate, but also signifies that the Rangers are looking around to see how they can make a major impact addition to this club. Doesn't mean it's going to happen in season. This could be something that gets pushed to the offseason, lay some groundwork now and go from there. But what it does show is that Chris Drury, and this is talking to other teams as well, and them acknowledging that the Rangers are looking around to see just what kind of big fish might be available. Is it somebody up front or on the back end? Clearly, with Hughes being a defenseman, to them, it doesn't really matter. Offense, I believe, is something that they'd like to address. And then, of course, they have to figure out the Panarin situation as well, that I think they're just waiting on. You want to see how the season progresses before they address that head on. But we talk about teams like Utah, teams like Carolina, Montreal to an extent, Seattle, these teams being engaged whenever there's a big fish out on the market. I throw New York now in that mix as well. And it sounds like this is a message or directive from ownership. But go out there, get us a star, get us back on track, and make it happen. And we're not talking about, 33-year-old guys. We're talking about guys in their mid-20s, similar to Quinn Hughes, that is controllable for either a short period of time and then deal with it after, or a long period of time. But it certainly sounds to me, talking around the league, that the New York Rangers, if there's a big guy available, they're going to at least have a conversation and be part of that mix.
What are the chances we need to send Bill Guerin like a thank you card and some flowers for opening up the market here? Because, it was a big trade of faith by Bill Guerin to know that everything that he sent the other way. I think both fan bases, if we did a scientific poll here, I think majority of optimistic outlooks from both fan bases. That's pretty rare in a blockbuster trade, particularly a one-for-many trade. Both sides feel pretty okay with how it went down. Does that become catchy? Does a rival GM go, if he can do it, I can do it. We can pull it off here.
It's a bit of a copycat league in certain respects. So I'm all for it. Please do. Makes us a lot more to talk. Gives us a lot more to talk about. Before this trade happened, looking at how the salary cap continues to increase and how much teams are willing to just retain their own guys and dish out the money to do it because they have that cap flexibility, it was going to eventually change the landscape of how teams address the needs of their roster. With limited or at least a shallow free agent pool, you're only going to be able to be in so many games here. So you've got to pivot and look to see what else is out there. And that typically means you've got to engage in the trade market. And sometimes it's in a heavy way. I think comboing that notion, and I've talked to a lot of GMs that feel like that's going to be the case. But now you've got that huge blockbuster that was made between Minnesota and Vancouver. Maybe that escalates things from that side of things. Now, I still feel like some of these guys are going to be a little bit hesitant to do these types of moves in season. This might be a progression, but at least it shows, hey, exactly to your point, like if they can do it, why can't I? I think it does open up the mindset and the idea of we can just act now as opposed to trying to wait things out. But coupled with the salary cap and the continuation of that increasing and more money being spent on keeping guys, you got to fill a hole. You want to go and take a giant swing. It's not so much going after the big fish in free agency anymore. It's about seeing what else is out there and making those types of moves. And like I said, I'm all for it.
We talked before the recording, David, nothing really new on Kiefer Sherwood, but Connor Garland, refresh us there. Where do the Canucks stand on Garland?
There's still a willingness to listen. We know his new 6-year deal kicks in July 1, as does his no movement clause. Kiefer Sherwood and Connor Garland share the same agent, by the way. There are teams that are interested that have had conversations that I believe will still have conversations. And my understanding is Vancouver's willing to listen on that still. I don't know necessarily if it's the similar type of move that obviously to a lower degree because we're dealing with Quinn Hughes, but that package type of move, or if we're looking at, moving out Garland, bringing in a couple assets that are more impactful than an overall package. I'm not sure exactly where that fits. But as far as I could tell, there is still a willingness to listen on Garland. And we'll see kind of how that goes. It's status quo for the time being. Same with Sherwood, same with some of their other guys, at least as of this morning. But obviously the Canucks are in a position here where they've made it known, going back to the memo, that they're willing to listen on a number of guys, Garland being one, certainly Drew O'Connor being another, and of course the pending UFAs.
Lastly, David, holiday roster freeze coming up tomorrow. Last year, we actually saw this as a bit of a motivating deadline for GMs. There was not big trades, but we have seen this deadline motivate some dealing in the past. All eyes on LA right now. Phillip Danault is that file seems to be out there on social media, but you tell me.
Yeah, so the teams have asked about Phil Danault, and it was about 3 weeks ago, give or take, where at least internally there was an idea that or a notion that sounds like he might have asked for a trade here. We checked in then, no, that wasn't the case, and now there's the report that he's requested a trade. He has not, but LA is listening, and this is not a scenario where, again, he has not asked for a trade, and he has not, said anything along the lines of, I want to make this happen before the roster freeze over the holidays. He's got family. Nobody wants to get traded around this time of year anyway, especially when you've got a family. So that's, at least from his perspective, not the case. But that hasn't stopped Ken Holland from listening to teams. They have inquired. There have been multiple teams that have poked around on Phil Danault, who has another year left on his contract. He's got, I believe, a 10-team no-trade list. But LA's looking to add. They have been active right now in trying to add offense. They're 28th in the league in goals for per game. They want to jump that up significantly. So from that side of things, they are looking for a scoring winger who can fit a top 6 role that's got some speed to his game. That's definitely on Ken Holland's priority list. Now, with respect to moving Danault, yes, they're going to listen. And if somebody blows them out of the water with an offer, even though he struggled significantly this year offensively, I just don't see a scenario where that happens, at least for the time being. You've got Anze Kopitar's last season happening here, and then you've got Phil Danault at center. If you move him and you're not bringing in either an equivalent type of player at that position or an upgrade, you're entering next season, if you do move him, with Quinton Byfield as your top center, and then you drop it down to Turcotte. There are too many things that are kind of in play here from LA's perspective, where they are looking for offense, and they also have to be cognizant of the dot and making sure that they're still stable up the middle. They still value Danault for what he can do defensively a lot, and especially come playoff time and shutting down the opposition. It's been a struggle offensively, but he's not the only one. Kuzmenko struggled, Trevor Moore struggled. So LA's looking, they'll listen on Danault, but unless they're really just, it's an offer they can't refuse, I think he sticks around for the time being.
His goals started to diminish last year, but he was great in the playoffs. Like if they're pretty
he's a
convinced they're
defensive-
going to the playoffs, but he even had 8 points
for sure.
last year in the playoffs.
Well, and the other thing is I mean, your defensive centers in the playoffs are lifeblood. You're going to play some pretty good centers. You need some guys to match up and
You
play
have
that
to be-
defensive.
but the way
Go
that
ahead.
they've played against Edmonton for the last umpteen playoffs,
There you
he's
go.
been a key cog in that, in shutting down, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl as best and as much as you possibly can. He's been one of the best in the league to do it. So, again, not out of the realm of possibility. He's not untouchable. They will listen, but you've got to really convince Ken Holland that it's worth doing.
Yeah. Last question for me, David. Look, I think some people were surprised that the Buffalo Sabres were talking to the Canucks about Quinn Hughes. We know the Canucks have eyeballed Bowen Byram in the past. And I did hear Jarmo Kekalainen, new general manager, after replacing Kevin Adams, saying he believes the playoffs are a possibility for Buffalo, which could very well be the case this year. It's a little tighter in the East. They're a little closer than a team like the Canucks. But it also sounds like there could be some big swings being taken there by Jarmo Kekalainen, that pieces, good young pieces on that Sabres team could be more at play now than they were with Adams. How do you see things playing out in Buffalo now with the new manager?
Yeah, there is a willingness to, from my understanding, to make those types of moves where we're talking about more blockbuster-esque type of deals here. Now, first on the priority list is just having an understanding as to where they sit now with Alex Tuck. And prior to the change, I was told status quo on that side. They're not close to a deal, and they're just kind of waiting to see what the next steps may potentially be. And now we've got the official GM change and Jarmo taking over those negotiations. That's number one on his list. Find out what the possibility is of signing and keeping Alex Tuck in Buffalo is. It's going to be, at least the ask, from my understanding, is in the $10 to $11 million range per year on a long-term deal, if we're going full term. I don't get the sense that changes just because he's from Buffalo and likes it there and would like to stay as a home and all that. But that seems to be ballpark range to get an extension done. Does Yarmo's mindset, is it different than that of Kevin Adams with respect to giving him that type of contract? So once they settle that, one way or another, that's number one. Goaltending is the other. They've got too many guys there. He mentioned that in his introductory press conference. They've got to address that. But then it's a matter of all these teams that had conversations with Buffalo prior to the GM change involving Byram. Teams poked around on Owen Power. They checked in on some of their forwards as well. Does that now change with respect to Jarmo taking over? Where's his mindset at there? And can we make a big move for one of these other pieces by moving out talent? My understanding is Buffalo wants to get a lot deeper up front. They've got a solid D core, at least on paper. Things have to match. They got a lot of left-handed shot D as well. Is it a possibility where you're moving a Byram or a Power and bringing in a top six guy up front? I think it is. I don't know what those specific pieces are, and I don't know what the specific ask will be in terms of caliber of player, but I wouldn't be shocked if that comes into play at some point. If it happens in season, awesome, because again, big type of deals, bring them on. It may be something more geared towards draft time, but I think there is a willingness to entertain that possibility from what I'm hearing from Kekalainen's point of view. So I think there is the willingness to make those types of moves, to take those types of big swings, because at this point, especially in Buffalo, in that market, I feel for that fan base, it's rough. It's been rough since Pagula came in, right? Like, they have not been able to get over that hump and make the playoffs since that first year he took over, and that was like halfway through. I don't even know if that counts. But in terms of full seasons with Pagula at the helm, they have not been good. And in the last 5 years since Adams has been there, I think the best they finished was like 22nd in the league. For a fan base like that and a passionate group like the Buffalo faithful have, you got to fix this, and you got to fix it now.
Yeah, and we've talked about it in the past. Pound for pound, Buffalo might be the best U.S. hockey market. It is one market that actually does tune in and watch out of market games in the Stanley Cup playoffs, of course.
I'll say
often because their team isn't in it. Just before We should remind everybody, Alex Tuck married a Vancouver girl. He's a free agent after this year, and now, needless to say, the Canucks are going to be on the market. Rutherford talked about free agency. It's tough, he says, because not a lot of guys get to free agency anymore, but Vancouver is going to be on the market with cap space in July.
That made more sense when Quinn Hughes was there, maybe.
What do you mean?
But well, see, they are a perplexing rebuild in that I think they should be better than they are.
So do I.
But they just
Me
not
too.
working, so, yeah.
On paper. Well, and there's still models that show them having a halfway decent chance of getting back into this playoff.
Well, 3 straight wins. We'll see.
Playoff hunt. So we'll see. Yeah. David, marvelous stuff. We've got a slimmed down version or slimmed down schedule of shows over the next couple of weeks in the holidays. So not sure when we'll talk to you next, but thank you for everything here in 2025. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to the Pagnotta family.
Happy holidays, Dick.
And we'll catch up soon.
You guys too.
Sekeres & Price from the historic Wall Center in the Pacific Toyota Dealer Studio built by Arbor Lee. Best plays aren't just on the ice, on the field. Stay downtown here at the Wall and enjoy exclusive Sekeres & Price perks. Call 604-331-1000. Tell them we sent you. Some blackout date supply based on availability. We've been talking about this game all week and actually for a few weeks. And when is the last time we've said that about a Seahawks regular season tilt? Rams at Hawks tonight in Seattle, the NFL's marquee matchup of 2026 on a standalone Thursday nighter. Well done, schedule maker here. Winner takes a huge step towards winning the NFC West, securing that number 1 seed in a first-round bye in the conference playoffs. 12-2 Denver has a better record than these teams, but you can make a strong case that these are the best 2 teams in football. Look at this. Point differential, number 1 and number 2 by a country mile.
We've been chronicling this all season long, that these 2 teams, and point differential, I love it in the NHL, but I also love it in the NFL.
It is imperfect when games get away on a team, but I hear what you're saying. Over the course of
in the big sample size,
14 games or so, it should.
So, I think the Broncos, alongside your Bears, are sort of one of those teams. Like, are they really that good? And there's a couple other teams in there too. Like, how good are the Jaguars? How good are the Patriots? But hey, who knows? Maybe outside the market, maybe people are saying that about the Seahawks to some degree. But I think this defense now is catching people's attention. You're mad that I brought the Bears.
Well, let's talk Saturday night after the game.
Okay.
Could be polar bears, could be paper bears.
Yes.
Hawks have won 4 in a row, surrendering just 12 points per game. Rams 3-1 in their last 4, but they've scored at least 28 in all of them behind MVP candidate Matthew Stafford at quarterback. He is 1-9 all-time in the rain.
The unstoppable force meets the immovable object. What happens? I can't wait.
I mean, this is Hogan versus the Giants, WrestleMania 3. 2 big injuries in this game. Seattle without left tackle Charles Cross. Rams without star wide receiver Devontae Adams. Josh Jones making his first start in 2 years along that vulnerable Seahawks offensive line. And then there's the weather. Mentioned Stafford's record. I don't know what defines rain in this stat. Like, if it's a sprinkling, the type of stuff that we hear, they in Seattle wouldn't even consider rain.
Showers
does
versus
that count,
rain.
or does you actually have to have accumulation?
Yeah, that's a good question.
But it is going to be wet pregame, although it's supposed to be drier at kickoff, and wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour. Again, that's could be more a factor in the first half. It's supposed to get a little calmer as the night goes along. See how that affects the kicking and the passing game. I mean, Matthew Stafford has the big arm. Darnold's got a pretty big arm in his own right. And yes, so all eyes on Sam Darnold tonight. 4 interceptions and a loss to the Rams earlier this season. Took 9 sacks against this team in the playoffs last year as his Minnesota Vikings fell. Really, the Rams defense has been kryptonite for Darnold in 2 stops now.
I've got up-to-date hourly weather here.
Here comes the weather nerd.
Light rain begins at 5 p.m. They've still got light rain at 6 p.m. As of 7 p.m., it turns to cloudy with showers. So it might finish
A little drier in the second half. Rams were delayed getting out of Los Angeles last night, wound up splitting their group into 2 flights. Great line here by Aaron Levine of Fox Seattle. Boeing, is that you?
Oh, so good.
Yeah, Seattle-based Boeing.
Until we find out they were on an Airbus.
Doing a solid for the home team. And speaking of that number 1 seed, with 3 weeks remaining in the NFL schedule, there are still 6 teams in each conference that have a shot at top billing in that first round bye. There's your NFC: Rams, Seahawks, Bears, 49ers. Be a little surprised if Green Bay or Philly can get there at this point on 9 wins, 2 behind the leaders, but mathematically still available. AFC: Denver with those 12 wins, New England with 11. Jacksonville is 10-4, man. So are the Chargers.
That's what I'm saying.
Buffalo and Houston also alive.
Sort of the reverse National Hockey League. There's all this parity at the bottom of the playoff bracket in the NHL, and there's parity at the top with everybody still in the mix.
Sticking with football, Lions get more offseason business done, re-signing Canadian special teamers Adam Konar of Vancouver College, DB Josh Haggerty, both stood to be free agents this February. We mentioned last week BC didn't have a lot of cap space left for 2025, so expect some re-signings of special teams guys whose signing bonuses can be applied to this year, alleviate some of the cap space for 2026. Big thanks to Matt Baker of the BC Lions stopping by yesterday, spreading some Xmas cheer. Love this interlocking BC logo that the Lions use.
Oh, yeah.
And have never seen it gray on black. So very thankful that was in my gift bag, Matt. There was somebody who's quite jealous about that.
I'm a little jealous.
If you have an extra one, buddy, you know where to send it. Soccer news, huge soccer news from the Whitecaps and from MLS and even South America. We will start with the trade. Winger Jayden Nelson is heading to Austin for their first-round pick, number 17 overall in today's MLS Super Draft. Caps also receive $1.25 million in general allocation money. Caps also hold their Indigenous pick in the first round, number 29 overall. Nelson had 3 goals, 9 assists, 33 appearances. He was a real engine early in the season when Vancouver got off to that fast start. He played less as the season went along and was looking for greater opportunity. Yohei Takaoka.
First, just let me jump in on Nelson. Great player, especially early, as you said.
Love his pace, and he was so much fun. We'll miss watching him.
But, of course, you got Ryan Gauld coming. Mm-hmm. You think back into the starting lineup, if not the super sub. And Kenji Cabrera should figure way more prominently next year as well. You do, I like
Sabi on that one wing too.
Yeah. So the Whitecaps, I don't think, suffer for lack of depth with this trade. So it was kind of a free trade. Well,
they suffer from depth, but yeah, they have cover at those spots.
Yes, absolutely.
Takaoka re-signs the keeper on a 2-year deal. He'd been a free agent for a week. The Caps were 50-50 on him coming back late last week when we talked to Axel Schuster, but then you started to see keepers going off the market. More on that in a second. Andres Kubas looks like he's going to remain in the defensive midfield. This after an unsuccessful courting from that Brazilian side, Atlético Paranaense. There were doubts about that club's ability to raise the transfer fee, said to be $4 million. Of course, Kubas had a fantastic season for the Caps, was outstanding in that playoff win against LAFC. He also made some critical errors in the 2 cup matches, the CONCACAF match against Cruz Azul, MLS Cup against Miami. And I was not as familiar with this until we talked to a smart soccer person last night, but was he the most affected player by the structural tactical changes that came about when Mueller entered the equation?
I would certainly say, I'll say this with confidence. He was the player that had the smallest bump in play under Jesper Sorensen. Like he's always been very good.
Yeah.
But I don't know that he necessarily, and this is not really, it's not a backhanded compliment anyhow, because he was coming from a pretty high place, but Jesper Sorensen didn't get more out of Kubas. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But he got more out of almost every other player on the roster. And again, it's not that Kubas played poorly, because he played fine. But I think you could say that he didn't elevate under Jesper Sorensen.
Okay. Glass City reporting that the Caps are targeting a 20-year-old Canadian by the name of Adonija Uwanda. He plays for FK Vozdovac in Serbia's second division.
There's that.
Possible replacement here for Nelson. 6 goals in 21 games so far this season. Would also replace that Canadian roster spot for Nelson. Caps promoting a left back, a Moldovan, Mihail Gerasimenov, who spent last season on loan. I had it earlier before the show, believe it or not. He spent last season on loan with CPL Cavalry, also with Vancouver Whitecaps FC2. Look, Caps are pretty much done here because they have 2 senior roster spots remaining. They're out of international spots. There's just not a ton of roster flexibility left right now.
No, not a lot, unless they want to get into some trades.
Yeah. There would put it this way. For there to be anything more than just sort of garden variety additions here, it's probably going to require a trade or a transfer, right?
And now that they've got extra GAM, could they upgrade a position, upgrade a player via a trade? Send a younger player one direction, get a more established veteran, use some GAM to pay him down. You could do something like that. We'll see.
And the rich get richer in Miami as Canadian international goalkeeper Dane St. Clair, the MLS Keeper of the Year, heads to South Florida to join Lionel Messi and his merry band of South Americans. St. Clair, of course, coming from Minnesota. He could very well be Canada's starting keeper at the World Cup in June. We'll see how that goes.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, new divisions coming to MLS in 2027. The league seems poised to move away from the conference alignment and go to a league table with 5 divisions for scheduling purposes. Vancouver would be in a division with Seattle, Portland, San Jose, Real Salt Lake, and Colorado.
Those are the teams you go home and away with, and then the other 4 divisions you would, on a rotational basis, either be home to them or be away to them, division by division. So it's just for scheduling, to reduce your travel, and then the table is the table, just like in a Premier League.
Yeah. So are they adding? So no additional games, right? Because you've got 5 other teams in your division, so home and home, that makes 10. And then you've got 24 other teams in the league. That gets you to 34.
Same.
Baseball, where Bo Bichette says he is now willing to play second base. The Jays shortstop, and he has improved at that position, the most demanding position on the infield. But there are plenty of teams that either see him as a second base long-term because they anticipate the physical skills will erode and he can't hold up at that position, or just have a better shortstop right now and view him more as a piece at second base. And that willingness should open up his market, lead to more money term, even if, there would be some teams that look at it and say, we're not paying a second baseman that, we'd pay a shortstop that, but I think you get more teams in the mix here if he says he's willing to play second base. Probably too rich for Seattle. They don't tend to sign these sorts of contracts, the Mariners, but they do have a second base hole. Jays could bring him back, play him at second with Jimenez holding down shortstop.
You're just flip-flopping, right? Like, you're okay if Andres Jimenez was the second baseman and putting up the offensive numbers, you wouldn't really blink an eye. So if you just flip the responsibilities at the plate,
yeah,
you're fine.
It's oftentimes an ego thing, right?
Oh, totally.
Shortstops see themselves as, playing the most demanding.
Straw that stirs the drink.
Captains of the infield.
Yeah.
You remember when A-Rod was traded to the Yankees. On his worst day, he was a better shortstop than Derek Jeter.
Yes.
But they weren't going to ask the captain and the great Derek Jeter to move positions. We've seen that with other shortstops in the past. Jays make a minor move, dealing relief pitcher Justin Brule, who had been bumped from the Major League roster to Cleveland for cash. He pitched well down the stretch, but he got shellacked in his one postseason appearance against the Yankees. Poll question results from Wednesday. Do you want the Canucks to tank? Yes or no, people said. 2,000 votes plus, too.
People said yes.
Percentage?
71.
89.
Really? Really? Wow. It's getting damn close to unanimous.
Way to be in touch with the market, Blake.
I just think that here's my thinking on that was people got so excited about the return on the Quinn Hughes trade that they now began to say, well, maybe we can
Rob
do
Williams
this.
told you. No, they want Brienne, brave Brienne, not only voting no, but saying you voted no. But she says, because we would lose the lottery anyway. Trevor, I want them to tank, but if I'm watching a game, I still cheer when they score. That's Trevor of the famous
I get that.
Chong brothers here in Vancouver. Shout out to the whole Chong
It's a way for
family.
you to
Merry
win
Christmas.
every game the rest of the season because either you cheer on the win and they get you the win, or you cheer on them to win and then they lose and you're like closer to the tank, baby.
Goro says, of course, anyone that votes no deserves to watch the Canucks be mediocre forever. This team needs more elite talent to have any hope of being future contenders. And then Curtis says, guys, they're dead last in the NHL and just traded their best player. The tank already happened, whether intentional or not. They can't get worse from 32nd. Are you guys trying to get them relegated to the AHL? I must say I would like this team's chances in the Calder Cup playoffs. I mean, if they can get through defending reigning champion Abbotsford.
Go back and watch Crave the stats from today, and that's your answer as to why 32nd is a little bit of a misnomer.
And here's the crazy part. We don't have an error or an omission from yesterday's program, at least none that was brought to my attention. So we thank you for joining the program. Appreciate you connecting with the show. Please do subscribe to our channels, YouTube in particular, and wherever you get your podcasts. Costs you nothing. Follow on social, X, Insta, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky. Live on many of those platforms, noon Pacific time weekdays. Tomorrow will be a 10 a.m. start to the program with the early start on Long Island against the Islanders. And, of course, please do support the community sponsors you hear us talking about and keep it local.